Hello everyone, today I'm going to start a new miniseries about the Qing Empire. I think this is the first miniseries I make on YouTube. I will begin to introduce the Qing Empire. In the 18th century, the Qing dynasty was the wealthiest nation on the planet. It is also classified as the fourth largest empire in the history. It had also the largest population on the planet and was one of the most powerful empires in the history. All begins in northeastern China. At this point, the Ming dynasty had controlled the area since 1388. In 1583, a man named Nurhaci became the leader of the Jianzhou Jurchens. Later, he began to unite the Jurchen tribes. In 1616, he created the later Jin. Now, many of you might ask yourself, why did he name it to the later Jin? Many centuries earlier, in the 12th century, the Jin dynasty that was also Jurchen had ruled over northern China. To make things clear, this was before the Mongol conquest of the Jurchen lands in 1234. Now let's go back to the 17th century. In 1618, Nurhaci was ready to go to war with the Ming. In the beginning of the war, he seized several border towns in the Liaoning province, which was back then a province of the Ming dynasty. In 1619, he had a new opponent, the Northern Yuan. The Khan of Northern Yuan, Ligdan Khan, tried to take Guangning but failed. The war with the Ming continued, but while inside the Ming, the Sha'an rebellion occurred. This rebellion was focused in southwestern part of the Ming dynasty. The rebellion would not be put down until 1629. In 1626, Nurhaci passed away. In 1627, later Jin under Hong Taiyi invaded the Ming vassal of Joseon and made it a vassal to the later Jin. But the Jurchen rule in Korea was extremely unpopular. This led to a new invasion by the Qing Empire in 1636. In 1634, the later Jin defeated the Northern Yuan and made it disappear. In 1636, Hong Tai proclaimed the Qing dynasty. He also renamed the Jurchen people to the Manchu people. In the Ming Empire, it was chaos. Natural disasters plus the war with the Jurchens had drained the treasure of the empire. All those factors led to internal rebellions. Speaking of rebellions, in 1635, Li Zicheng, a peasant rebel leader, started a rebellion against the Ming dynasty in the Shaanxi province. In 1639, another rebel leader was about to join the game, Zhang Tianzong, a famous rebel leader in south-central China. In 1641, both Li Zicheng and Zhang Tianzong expanded their territories a lot. In 1641, Zhang Tianzong conquered most of southwestern China. At the same year, Li Zicheng conquered more and more of northern China. But Zhang Tianzong had been forced to withdraw to the Sichuan province, where he would proclaim himself as ruler of the Qi dynasty in 1643. In 1644, Li Zicheng proclaimed himself as ruler of the Shun dynasty in northern China. In the same year, he occupied the Ming capital, Beijing. This effectively put an end to the Ming dynasty. Of course, I am joking. The Ming would be succeeded by the southern Ming. To put down Li Zicheng's rebellion, a Ming general named Wu Sangui decided to make a decision that he would regret for his life. He opened up the Great Wall of China. This intention was to get help from the Qing armies to crush Li Zicheng's rebellion, but later Wu realized his mistake. Now, when the Great Wall of China was open, the Qing armies could rapidly flood China. This led to the entirety of China proper being conquered by the Qing armies. Meanwhile, in the north, we have another nation that also expanded, Russia. The Russians had conquered most of Siberia and founded Yakutsk in 1632. But Russia also wanted to colonize the Amur area. But the problem was that the Qing dynasty already controlled parts of the Amur River. This started the Russian-Qing border conflict in 1652. The Russians invaded the Qing multiple times but failed all times. But what happened to Zhang and Li? Zhang had died in 1647. In the same year, the Qi dynasty was dissolved, while Li had died in 1645, but the Shun dynasty would not be dissolved until 1646. The southern Ming was conquered by the Qing dynasty in 1662, led by Kangxi Emperor. This put an end to the Ming dynasty. Last emperor of the southern Ming, the Yongle Emperor, tried to escape to the Tuangu Empire, which is today's Myanmar. He escaped to the capital of the empire, Inva, but when the Qing army invaded the Tuangu Empire and was close to the capital, he was forced to return to China, where he got captured and executed. The former Ming general Zheng Zhenggong had fled to the island of Formosa. Meanwhile, there, he founded the kingdom of Tuning in 1661, but stuff was going to erupt soon. In 1676, Wu Sangui, Zheng Jingzhong, and Zhang Zixin, three former generals in the Ming dynasty, wanted to expel the Qing Empire from China, so they decided to launch a rebellion. This would be called Revolt of the Three Feudatories. They reached as far as the Gansu province in 1678. You might understand how huge area the rebels occupied. In the same year, Wu Sangui declared himself as Emperor of the Zhou in 1678, but the same year he passed away. His grandson Wu Shifan took over as emperor, but decided to withdraw on every single front. This would lead to that the rebellion was defeated and a Qing conquest of Formosa in 1683. Even when the Qing Empire now controlled the entirety of China proper, that didn't mean that the Qing Empire was free from enemies. We still have Russia and the Dzungar Khanate. In 1688, the Dzungar Khanate had conquered Mongolia. This threatened the Qing dynasty. To solve the issue, Russia and the Qing Empire signed the Treaty of Nerchinsk in 1689 to put an end to hostilities towards each other. The terms included that Russia would cede an area between Amur River and the Stanovoy Mountains, but Russia and the Qing would have a border along the Amur River in the western part of the river. The treaty also included that Russia was allowed access to Chinese markets. To show the change, I will show the change on a second map. Now, when the treaty was signed, the Qing Empire could focus on the Dzungar Mongols. We will talk about that in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Have a good day.